Horizon Jazz, almost Rex, and this is Wizardry 8 review. Extreme role-playing. Extreme. Alright. I've never seen an RPG game where any RPG fan says it's an extreme role-playing, but okay. I guess it's gonna be, if Seth is saying it's extreme, it's gonna be fun. I mean, this is one of his famous videos, which was from 2020, so I guess kind of recent and famous, so I guess game is going to be incredible. Seth style incredible, so yeah. Featuring Knudsen from Devil May Cry series. Okay, so yeah, let's do this one. I love ssethtzeentach and all his videos, especially the recent one, right, where he reviews the not so famous games from, I guess, your average game player, right? Some of the games I've never heard of, but realize that is incredible. Dwarf Fortress, Space Station 13, those are some incredible games that I've never heard of. So I guess it's gonna be similar to that. So let's watch it. Remember, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like and subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more, which type of channels to react to more. Comment down if you want me to react to any specific video from any channel. Even if I don't reply, I will eventually react to it. The list is kind of long now, but I guess we'll see. Check out the Rick I did, there's a link in the description. Check out the cards with the ink cards, and yeah, let's watch it.
Hey people, Seth here. Today I'll be breaking away from tradition. I'll be covering some old-ass game that's probably very obscure, long, frustrating, dehumanizing, but also very fun. Ask yourself, have you ever wanted to experience the role-playing equivalent of poisoning yourself repeatedly?
I am afflicted.
For many weeks.
I got dibs on his stuff.
Until you gradually build up a tolerance for self-inflicted pain and suffering. You see, much like eating a bag of raw potatoes, do it in one go and you might die, but do it gradually and you might live. Keep at it and you might just start enjoying it. I present to you Wizardry 8, released in 2001 by the Canadian government. Wizardry 8 is one of the finest torture devices to be released on the personal computer. Wizardry 8 takes place in the Dragon Ball Z extended universe. You and your party are space-traveling aliens hired by the Wookiees to retrieve all 3 remaining Dragon Balls, the Astral Domine, the Chaos Malari, and the Destiny Dominus, and use them to ascend as literal gods and reshape the universe.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. Whenever somebody uses one of the most famous thing that is and just take things from that, it becomes a weird cringy moment, right? Wookiee from Star Wars, okay, Dragon Ball Z type of orbs, aliens, sure, why not? I mean, I know you should judge immediately like that, but come on, man.
Universe. Ascension takes place on a planet called Dominus. Unfortunately, the process of ascension has been complicated by the involvement of a dark savant, who, to put it simply, is Space Hitler, setting up an interplanetary anti-Semitic blockade around Dominus. Unfortunately, your ship bears the Mark of David and is quickly shot out of the sky, forcing you to make a crash landing. All things considered, that's not too bad. Except, Space Hitler has also rigged the planet with a nuclear payload that is large enough to glass the entire surface, in case anyone who isn't Space Hitler tries to ascend. I hope you're following all this, because this is just the intro. And now I'm gonna quickly summarize the plot to help you understand how amazing this game is. Space Hitler is not very popular. As a result, he loses the only Dragon Ball he has to the Italian Mafia, because he neglected to pay their godfather, Don Barlone. By the way, the Italian Mafia in this game is composed to pay their godfather, Don Barlone.
You got to be kidding me. Okay, that's his name. See, sometimes it's really hard to know where Seth makes jokes and where he doesn't, right? If it's a part of a game. Because all the games he reviews are usually weird like that. And whenever he reviews them, is this Seth's joke or is this actual name from the game? Apparently it's actual name.
Barlone. By the way, the Italian Mafia in this game is composed of rats and speak in an Italian-American accent.
Me? I'm always in top form, not
Luigi.
just Ratkin. Razooka, pal! Yeah, the Order of Tar. You might consider us a family of sorts.
Don Barlone switches out the Astral Domine with a shiny salt lick. The melanated master finds out and has an autistic tantrum in front of you. You'll come to find this is a common theme. You take the imitation and buy the real thing. It costs most of your life savings, so instead of paying, you might try and whack him instead. Luckily, the best tricks are so nice that they work twice. First, you gotta get chummy with the Umpani or the Trang. This is the choice between authoritarian rhinos or literal bugmen that reproduce faster than India. I usually roll Umpani because we share a common bond in our attraction to anthropomorphic rhino girls. Siding with one of those lets you visit the local Wookiee embassy to have a look at their Chaos Malari. And by having a look at their Chaos Malari,
He seems like an honest, trusting guy, and those are my favorite kinds of people.
I mean snatching it in front of them, apologizing sincerely, and then replacing it with a knockoff glass bulb. Then you gotta find the Destiny Dominus, which is really the search for enlightenment. As the source of all knowledge in the universe, you find it naturally by consuming a lot of psilocybin, DMT, and ayahuasca. So you can project yourself to a higher plane of consciousness and talk with Joe Rogan. With all 3 Dragon Balls in your dragon sack, there's still the small matter of nuclear oblivion. So you gotta go up north and offer your sweet body to a goat demoness. This game was very progressive for its time because Alcedexis is fiercely heterosexual and rejects the very concept of scissoring. She also rejects the concept of monetizable content because her milk jugs are anything but modest. Anyway, to disarm the bomb, you have to get inside it. How? By breaking and entering into people.
If Seth decided to censor that, that was definitely a problem. Because sometimes Seth uploads certain images that even I'm like, what the fuck, I need to blur it. Sometimes I have to blur his video. Because YouTube can be tricky, especially nowadays.
Bedrooms, because, logically speaking, one of them is bound to have a direct access interdimensional portal into the bomb, which can be disabled by pressing random keys and getting lucky. With the bomb no longer armed, you smack the savant, leaving him disarmed. The savant dies, but in his death reveals to you the ultimate truth that he's been using a voice changer on Discord this whole time, and he's not actually that dark. The end. Any questions? No? Then in that case, welcome to Wizardry 8. I love this game. Now let's talk about playing it. To play, you need to make a party. From characters you make yourself.
Yeah, okay, I'm not gonna lie, my head is already hurting with all the fucking story that was going on, right? I mean, I like the complex way you can solve certain, quest, right? Putting a fake orb there and, anytime an RPG game, obviously it's an RPG game, has to have elements like that. But, nowadays you can't really expect something like complex quest structure from RPG games because our modern developers are not giving a shit that much. Obviously the big ones. Smaller games are still good, right? Indie games, and they're always obviously putting effort to it. But big creators, AAA games, I don't know if because their shareholders are putting pressure on them to release game quicker or what. If an RPG game is really good, has many different, way you can solve a quest and a complex structure, is always going to be awesome.
If I said there's a lot of options, that would be an understatement. You can be anything you want to be. Humans, non-humans, subhumans, furries, scalies, more furries, and even short kings. There's so many short kings in this game, you can pick by your preferred size. Anything from 5'11" kings to a 5'10" pocket prince, who are so light at this point, they get carried away by the wind. Race. Is there a link between race and I? There's 11 races, and that's only including ones you can pick. There's about 16 in total. Do anything you want to do, and I mean it. I don't care how many classes your game has, because Wizardry 8 has 15, including, but not limited to, fighters, which fight, Valkyries, which fight using female privilege to avoid death, ninjas, which fight with the empty space representing their lack of contribution to the team until 2 weeks into the average game. However, if you rolled a fairy ninja, congratulations, because your pocket prince can now solo the entire game. Alchemist makes potions and breaks the economy by making infinite potions you can sell for infinite money, letting you buy everything in the entire game. 10 out of 10, working as intended. Gadgeteer, who uses an unconventional form of weapon.
This is why Skyrim sometimes, Elder Scrolls Skyrim sometimes feels OP. Because in normal RPG games, you have to choose your classes and different traits, right? Do you want to be a mage or something? Do you want to be an alchemist? Do you want to be some kind of a warrior or whatever? In Skyrim, you can be fucking everything, right? At once. You're Dragonborn, fuck it. I'm going to be alchemist and make one of the most complex potions that even the master alchemists don't have and sell it for ridiculous money. I'm going to do the same thing with the weapons, enchanted weapons. I'm gonna be a fucking warrior, I'm gonna be a thief, I'm gonna be everything. Oh, look at that, I'm in a thieves guild. Oh, I'm also in an assassin group or something like that. I even fucking forgot the name of that. I don't know. How the fuck did I forget the name of that? But yeah, And I'm gonna be a wizard, and I'm gonna, attend the college.
Weaponry, a gun. But that's the boring part. The interesting part is overloading a microwave in a monastery, ripping out the microwave chip, and using it to give your enemies brain tumors. Gadgets are essentially random pieces of trash duct taped together to inexplicably cause widespread devastation. And if you think that sounds ridiculous, then let me tell you about the bard. In most games, a bard plays music, keeps up morale, and probably cooks and cleans for the party as well. In Wizardry 8, the droning melody of a bard's bagpipe brings pandemonium, the plucking of his harp causes cerebral hemorrhaging, and the blowing of his horn results in nuclear fallout. Building the optimal six-man party is difficult. Explaining is difficult, and we don't have time. Here's my build. Follow it, copy it, enjoy it. It's very powerful, very well-rounded, and gives you a complete first experience of a game. By the way, this game's got a lot of voice dialogue.
I've got a surprise for you. Stand still so you can get it between the eyes.
And most of it comes from your own party.
I almost feel normal.
There's 18 different personalities for each gender.
There will be many implements of destruction at my disposal, yeah?
Which is 36 fully voiced personalities in total.
Yeah, slice 'em, dice 'em, no sense being nice to 'em. That's my motto.
And that's absolutely nuts. Now, on to the fun stuff. I present to you all my current party. That's right.
I feel like they just invited all the different people to voiceover and didn't even explain to them what they're voicing about, right? I mean, the cat lady, whatever. Just make a cat type sound and say this. That's it. Because sometimes they feel confused when they say it.
Right? I manually imported all this to work inside the game. By the way, they're fully animated. The portraits, not even that bad. But manually animating the eyes and mouth, yeah, that took a while. As our first fighter, we got Internet Historian. Physically, he's a giant. Mentally, he's...
Ah, a trap. I wonder what would happen if I just pulled this thing here.
He's very stable. Mr. Mandalore as our second fighter, whose voice I absolutely adore.
How exciting. I think I'm improving. Oh no. More people. They just keep coming. And coming. I'm getting stressed.
It's just so expressive. As our morally bankrupt, backstabbing, conniving, and scheming Jew, we got my man Uber Danger as a rogue who sounds exactly as he does in real life.
I'd rather be recognized with cash, but a rise in status will do. Oh yeah, this is amazing. Nothing special. Yeah, probably worthless. I'll just hang on to it for us. You go on and fight. I'll guard the rear.
For spellcasters, I put Frederick Knudsen as our resident psionic. There's nothing wrong with him. He's actually the most well-adjusted of the entire group.
Gotcha! I am glad to be alive again, though the stillness of death was not totally objectionable.
Also, I put him as female. Sorry, Fred baby, but the best jewelry in this game is for girls. And we need to min-max. Myself as the party's dark, brooding alchemist.
Ordinary men fear the power of darkness. I revel in it.
Who, over the course of the story, has been one-shot many times.
The dead guy. What was his name?
Thanks so very much. Why did you tear me from death's sweet embrace?
And finally, Ken Ashcorp as our local priest.
Be careful.
I can't believe we're wasting time talking to a chipmunk!
Who's also completely unhinged. I did originally consider adding Pyro Cynical to the team, but unfortunately, YouTube does not let me feature minors in this video. There's a lot to do in Wizardry. Explore amazing places, visit the swamp, catch malaria, climb a tree, get body blocked for hours by hamsters, go to the only functional city in the game, with a grand total population of about 12 people, get harassed by Space Hitler and the androids of the Fourth Reich, head to the bar, get blackmailed, go to the bank.
I'm not gonna lie, the game looks good so far, right? I mean, I don't know, just setup is good enough. All the, voice acting, teammates, all the different things we can do. It's a role-playing game. All the different things you can do. It's all usually when you make a role-playing game, if you make it complex enough, right, many things to do, voiceovers here and there to make it more immersive experience, that your game's gonna be good enough.
Because of course it's still open. Go to the airport, because why not? Because this is the one game where you can talk to a starship and tell it to go fuck itself. The dialogue system in this game is nothing short of amazing. You have to manually write down, memorize, and figure out the keywords for conversational topics you're interested in. The game will then try to identify your intent and produce you a fully voiced answer.
Amusing yourself, are you?
There's not many NPCs in this
You're
game, but I
kidding me.
remember every single one of them. Whether it's the Umpani and their militaristic tendencies,
Oh, come on now, stupid thing. Get in there. Perfect. Oh no, oh no.
the slick-talking Don Barlone of Arazuka,
We keep our end of the deal, you know. But he slips tongue before he pays our fee. So, we're here to collect. But, he ain't gonna pay. That ain't a problem. We get our cash, and you get your prize. And the Dark Savant gets shafted.
or even your own biological daughter, conceived as a result of sleeping around with demons, because their voice acting is absolutely fantastic. Some can even be convinced to join your party. Unfortunately, most of them are highly superstitious of their own planet, and won't go where you want them to.
You know what, boys? This place reminds me of a song I wrote called I Ain't Going There No Way, No How.
The workaround to this is running them to exhaustion with a heavy backpack, knocking them unconscious, and forcibly dragging them past the load screen. Once they wake up, they'll complain and bitch about this breach of consent, which is why people generally avoid them, except RFS 81, who is the best boy, because, unlike everyone else, he's—
Oh my god, you're kidding me. How the fuck squad thing around is so complex in this game. I love it. I mean, I like how somebody's like, okay, I'm not going in there, fuck that. I mean, usually whenever a game, somebody makes some kind of a game and creates this kind of a people, you know, that you follow, your followers, squad mates, whatever, right? Those people are usually, you know, have some dialogues here and there, and that's it. They're like, you know, brain dead or something. They're just gonna follow you around everywhere. When there is more like, oh, I'm not going there, and they have their own opinion, it's just incredible.
He's not programmed to be a bitch. Quests are also equally brilliant, until you get stuck, until you get frustrated and desperate enough to read the damn walkthrough instead. There's no shame in that, because I do it. And I finished the game twice. Some of my favorite quests include protecting a verified Twitter user from hateful comments online by crushing someone into meat paste after luring them in using the sweet aroma of a female girl, getting motion sickness from the mine tunnels, and of course, retrieving the black box flight recorder of a crashed ship so you can triangulate the position of Space Hitler's ship and use a heavy surface-to-air battery to shoot him out of the sky.
3, 2, 1, firing.
Yeah, this game goes 0 to 100 real fast. Anyway, let's get back to something sensible, like using medieval weaponry to kill fantasy creatures. The biggest part of this game, from beginning to end, from the moment you wake up on that beach to the moment you pass out each day from exhaustion, is combat. This game has a lot of fighting. A lot of fighting. The hardest thing in this game is to simply walk unmolested through a short forest trail, which is physically impossible, because every step of the way you'll be harassed, molested, and physically assaulted by the entire regional populace. Should you survive your first experience of the great outdoors, you'll reach Arnica, the first city in the game. And don't worry, that's where I also let my guard down, sleeping with a door open, peeking out from a dusty window, only to catch a faint glimpse of moving pixels in your peripheral vision. I'm very sorry, but you're now in combat with the entire city, because even civilization is an unstoppable barrage of random encounters. To understand my frustration,
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that would get on my nerves, right, if I saw some shit like that. I mean, I like all these elements, but you know, one thing I appreciate in any RPG open world type of games, right, I don't know if this is open world, I think, semi-open world, whatever. But any games like this, one thing I definitely appreciate is there are places where you can just chill. Don't worry about people attacking and just taking the environment, right? I mean, in Skyrim, I remember, going to Whiterun and going to a bandit, cave at the very start of the game. You do that, right? And as soon as I come out, it's a nighttime. You can see Bleak Falls Barrow way in the distance, right? You can see the moons, right? And see Whiterun in the distance, and that calm music plays. That was an incredible moment, right? I don't have to worry about, oh, look at that. Suddenly a group of people might just attack me suddenly here.
Here's an example. Previously, I have walked 5 meters on a tropical island, got jumped by crustaceans, walked 5 meters back because I realized I was going the wrong way, got jumped by more crustaceans, only to walk forward again and get jumped by the same group of crustaceans which have now respawned. This wouldn't be so bad if combat wasn't turn-based, but it is, and it's slow. This won't hit you immediately, but believe me, it will. And once it does, the following information will make sense. Hello, future viewer. Like you, I have also had a mental breakdown after watching combat animations for many hours. So, I've installed the Wizardry 8 speed mod to quicken animations. I'm running Wiz 8 fast at 625 times speed, and I'm simultaneously speed hacking the game with Cheat Engine at 3 times speed. And it's still slow, but don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean combat is easy. It's absolutely the opposite. It's sadistically hard. It doesn't care, and it's going to keep beating you until you break.
She was a saint! A saint!
Sure, you can put down the difficulty. You're still gonna get shredded by the 10 plus juggernauts that just came out of camouflage. The only way to avoid dismemberment is to play intelligently. This game is a constant battle of overwhelming odds versus your own capacity to game the system. To charge the juggernauts is suicide. They swing potentially 3 times a turn, and they're not stupid. They're gonna surround you, flank you, and hack your spellcasters to pieces. Positioning is important. Instead of charging, we herd them into a choke point. Their numbers become worthless, and we reduce the fight into a glorified meat grinder. And that's not hyperbole. Enemies get visibly wounded the more you hurt them. It provokes a very Pavlovian response, as I get satisfaction from seeing whatever has inconvenienced me get reduced to a bloody pulp. Other times, I'm left thinking, Jesus fucking Christ, please stop. Just put him out of his misery, as I'm beating a bandit so hard that we've ripped the very skin off his face, and his skull is visibly poking through the flesh. Tactics are important. Your fighters do most of the damage. Your mages control the battlefield. Why deal with the crowd when you can make the crowd insane and kill each other in a psychotic rage? And if that doesn't work, paralyze them, curse them, give them topical dermatitis, make them throw up, and induce nausea. You know the best way to stop an animal attack? Diarrhea. Because it's very hard to focus on anything when your ass is exploding. However, any status that affects enemies can affect you as well. And you'll find it's very hard for your party to focus when they're in the process of getting vored and digested by wild animals.
Something's different, but I can't put my finger on it.
Luckily, combat is extremely rewarding. You only have to win a couple of fights appropriate to your level to level up. With that comes increased stats, skills, and spells to expand your options. Also, the game gets harder. Early game might be spent on the verge of death, but given time, you'll find that this is a constant state of tension, except you're no longer afraid of it. Instead, you'll learn to enjoy it, and even revel in the act.
Yeah, okay. So whenever a game has, skill points, levels, right? All the different attributes you can put in as you level up. And at the same time, they also increase the difficulty of the game as you level up. That's a very hard thing to pull off, right? I mean, right way. Lots of times you come across a game where you get a trait, you get up a level, you get a trait, a skill here and there, and realize it didn't matter for shit because game will became more difficult with you. So even with the skill, right, it's just as difficult or even more difficult. It doesn't feel like you leveled up by that point, right? If you do it in a complex way, like you have a skill that gives you a different edge, right? Not just directly does it increases my damage or something, but give you a different type of skill that gives you more tactics, right? And now the enemies are a bit difficult. Maybe there are newer enemies that are just obviously difficult, or the same enemy who's kind of different, but difficult in a way that they act differently. AI is kind of different. All this is good. But if you just rise up the damage and defense and damage output or something like that, that's just fucked up, because you just felt like, oh, look at that, I leveled up, I gained skills. It didn't matter because it takes the same amount of time.
as you realize you're quite good at it. I do, however, have some critique. 1. Traps. Traps are randomized, and one of them stole 90% of my current assets. Philosopher's Bane turns your gold into lead, and I forgot to quick save. On the other hand, my critique is also praise, because traps are a perfect example of how goddamn good the sound design is in this game. First, you gotta tumble around to try and guess the mechanism. Next, you need to try and disarm them one at a time. Listen to this. The sound is so goddamn crispy that you can physically feel the tension as your rogue fiddles with the machinery, which can snap at any given moment. Good God, I love it. Just remember to save. 2. Lockpicking.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you hear the cranking sound, you feel like, oh, fuck me, it better not snap. And at the end moment it snaps and you're, that just hurts, man. I like this, Edison sound.
It's not based. It is cringe. It is an endless hell of clicking tumblers to make them rise, only to watch the rest fall as you persist in your futile struggle. Which is why I strongly recommend you use Earth Magic to magically hold the tumblers, because otherwise you're gonna have a bad time. 3. Pickpocketing. Don't even bother, because it's fucking broken. No one's really sure how it works, but you can't save scum, and the responses are hard-coded. It's actually almost creepy. I once pickpocketed an NPC 5 times with the same negative outcome, only to reload the quick save and discover that the NPC was missing, or rather that they were deleted from my save file, as if to send me a message. I know this sounds like I'm losing it, and you don't have to believe me, because I managed to record the whole thing. 4. Other weird shit that happens. I used to think you couldn't alt-tab out of this game, because alt-tabbing breaks the keyboard. Turns out it doesn't. You just have to hit the alt key once again. How could you know this? You can't. How did I learn this? I smashed my keyboard and it worked. Then I reduced the surface area of my fist, smashed keys at random until...
Oh, look at that. Seth has the same keyboard as mine. Fucking devastator.
Hill, through order of elimination, found the secret combination. This game has several features on the level of esoteric knowledge. That is to say, nobody knows shit. Wizardry 8 is absolutely fantastic. Yes, there's annoying bullshit to deal with, but hey, it's almost 2 decades old and released in less than ideal circumstances. That's why there's still a fucking hardware advert that pops up whenever you try and close the game, because the publisher was broke and the developer was about to be. So they had to shill out, buy advertising, higher FPS in a turn-based RPG where FPS doesn't matter. On the other hand, holy shit, that advert aged well. They still exist to this very day. Pre-built computers? Now that's a future-proof business model, not some turn-based PT.
Look at that free advertisement by Seth. they're like, oh yeah, that's the best decision we ever made to give ad to Wizardry 8 in 2001. Now in 2022, okay, wait a minute, this is 2020, we're getting more ad time by Seth.
PSD simulator that blew its entire poly count on jiggle physics. This game will try to break you. It'll spit in your mouth, call you names, and crush your self-esteem. But if you persist, that's when real satisfaction kicks in. When you're no longer at the mercy of its bullshit. It's the feeling of control. And let me tell you, it is an all-encompassing, intoxicating sensation. I give Wizardry 8 an extremely high score. I also give it 80% off on GOG, because I have that power. All this for about $2. If it sounds like something you'd enjoy, give it a try. An average playthrough will run you anywhere between 100 to 150 hours of game time. And given the vast range of builds and character classes, it is very much replayable, preferably with breaks of several years in between. As always, more content to come, so stay tuned. A warm thanks to the many.
There you go, the Merchants Guild. Alright. Seriously, man, Seth has 1 million subscribers. But channel feels like it should have 4 or 5 million subscribers by now, and also the influence that he has, right? Influence on people and everything. And especially the other thing, that company just got best deal ever. Got got his ad on a Seth video. Every Seth video usually has 3-4 million plus views averagely, right? Although latest one at least. His older reviews are kind of smaller and I guess more spread out, but in latest past 4 or so years he's been making more bigger and complex reviews like this. All those videos has 3-4 million views. So yeah, Wizardry 8. This game looks incredible so far. Any RPG game, there are main RPG elements in it, right? Different type of combat, different type of skills and attribute, especially your teammates that are voice acted like that. This is just great. Yeah. Alright people, that was Wizardry 8 review, extreme role playing. Extreme, yeah, that's about right. Your main enemy, you can attack him in a different way. That missile thing was awesome too. Look at that, I can launch a missile. Yeah. If you like my reaction, don't forget to subscribe, check out the reaction, there's a link in the description, check out the cast, everything cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.